out of 10 of you have it, and none of you want it. Cellulite. Am I right? Yeah. If you think it's too late to do anything about it, well, I'm here to say you can turn back the clock. I surveyed over 100 dermatologists across the country to get their take on cellulite and the best way to treat it. And their answer may surprise you. We partnered with the American Academy of Dermatology to pose the questions that matter to you most, consulting America's finest dermatologists for the answers you need. They took our online survey, and what they reveal will shed new light on an age-old problem.
Cellulite is the #1 challenge patients come to me with.
At the forefront of skin science, Dr. Erin Gilbert, who has helped thousands of patients turn back the hands of time. Her treatment of choice may surprise you.
Here's the real secret to cellulite. The best way to beat it is not in your medicine cabinet, it's in your refrigerator. Research is starting to show that food might be the answer. I tell my patients that rather than getting expensive procedures, they can get great benefit from what they're putting in their mouths. I incorporate dietary recommendations because I know they work.
I know it sounds too good to be true that something as simple as food can help your cellulite, but there's real evidence behind this. In fact, 88% of the dermatologists surveyed agreed that what we eat has a major impact on our skin. Included in that survey is Dr. Erin Gilbert, who is joining us today. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you.
So why is food so important to skin?
Food is a really critical part of your daily skincare regimen. A lot of people don't realize this, but by actually eating the appropriate foods, you can decrease oxidative stress and immediately make an improvement in what your skin looks like. You actually can get real benefits just looking in your refrigerator.
You know, when you have 88% of doctors agree on anything, that's more than feasible. None of us have ever agreed that much. So I believe that part of it. The part of the equation that I didn't get was I always thought cellulite was about fat.
Right.
So why is all this emphasis on skin and cellulite?
Well, it is about fat, but the piece that most people don't know is that the skin overlying that fat is a really, really important piece of what your cellulite looks like. So as we age, what starts to happen is we have reduction in collagen, reduction in hyaluronic acid. And these are both components that actually contribute to skin thickness. So what starts to happen is you have degradation of that top layer of skin, everything happening underneath is just going to be more visible. One thing you can't forget too is that oxidative stress that we've been dealing with for most of our lives really starts to manifest in your 30s. So if you've been a sunbather, you've been somebody who is really not eating very well, your cellulite's going to look worse.
I've got an animation because I think this will help bring some of these concepts to the foreground. And this will explain what Dr. Gilbert's talking about. So let's go back into someone's thighs. They might be your thighs. Under the skin, you've got that fat that we talked about. And those fat cells, they'll begin to suck up nutrients that you're eating, especially if they're the wrong kinds of nutrients, fats and sugars in particular. Your hormones change. As those fat cells grow, they'll begin to pop through this framework, this network of collagen. These little cables here begin to get taut as you get older. Those fibers shrink, the fat begins to push their way through, and if the skin thins out as well, you'll get that dimpled appearance. And this is unfortunately what cellulite looks like so often. And we don't appreciate that it's not just the fat beneath it that's protruding through those collagen cables that have gotten taut, but it's also the thinning of the skin. So let's see how food can actually help. Dr. Gilbert, you could join me.
Absolutely.
And before we talk about the foods that are good for us, help us understand the biggest culprits in our diet, the mistakes that so many folks make that cellulite look much worse.
Absolutely. The things that we worry about the most are things like high salt foods. Things like alcohol actually are going to kind of decrease your overall skin beauty and skin glow. So those are things you want to avoid. One thing that you don't think about as much sometimes is juices. Juices can be super healthy, but even juices you make at home, they can have really high sugar content. And that'll spike your insulin level, and it's going to cause deposition of all these things in your fat cells. So that's something you got to be careful with.
That all makes sense, everybody? We showed those fat cells, if they don't have to protrude through, they won't. So let's talk about the foods that we know do help us. And the first is actually a category that I had never thought of before. These are water-rich foods. And why is that so important as a dermatologist?
Water is really important because it increases hydration. And the reason hydration is important is because of a word called turgor. Turgor is a fancy word for skin thickness, right? And in fact, vegetables are a great place to look at it because when your lettuces actually get kind of floppy after they've been in the fridge for a week, they're losing turgor. So we understand what this means, right? It's actually the thickness of the skin.
And how much do you recommend, again, specifically for skin benefit?
I generally say about 3 to 5 cups a day. And the more you can eat it raw, the better, because that's going to give you the best water content and the best nutritional value.
Fair enough. All right, the next idea, again, this is a surprising one to me, but now that I understand the importance of skin, it makes more sense, is tomato paste.
Yes. Tomato paste is a new one. And there's a recent study that's shown that tomato paste actually has the ability to inhibit collagen breakdown and also reduce sun damage. Now, you could eat tomatoes. Tomatoes are wonderful. I'm a big fan of tomatoes, but you'd have to eat 6 tomatoes to get the amount of lycopene. And that's what we're talking about is lycopene. Lycopene present in the tomato paste here, you're going to get about 15 tomatoes worth. So that's exactly what we're looking for. And by preventing that collagen breakdown, we're keeping a really strong structural framework in our skin. What that does is, again, prevents those fat cells from bulging out.
Those are those cables that I was showing in the animation.
Exactly.
How much of the lycopene enhancement do you need? How much tomato paste would you get in your diet?
You want to do about 2 to 5 tablespoons a day.
Okay, the final category for cellulite, and one that you can all incorporate, and it works very well for one important reason, is pineapple. So walk us through this.
Pineapple contains a phytochemical called bromelain. And bromelain has been shown to be wonderful at preventing breakdown of your collagen, mainly through anti-inflammatory properties. It's also wonderful at actually boosting fat cell metabolism. So what that means is that in addition to getting an anti-inflammatory effect, you're also going to have your fat cells releasing fat from the existing fat cells. Now, the thing about pineapple is I like about half of a cup of pineapple a day, which is really good. It's best eaten actually about an hour and a half after dinner. And the reason is that your insulin level is going to start to creep up a little bit after you've eaten your food, and then it's going to take care of the natural sugars in the pineapple. So that's why I like doing those two together.
It's very clever. And if you don't like pineapple, which some people don't, they get little fuzziness in their mouth,
Right.
how about the supplement?
So you can take a bromelain supplement. Bromelain's found at highest concentrations in the pineapple stem. And most of us don't like to eat pineapple stems.
Right.
So what that means is you can take a 500 milligram bromelain supplement. You can take it once a day. And I think that's going to do great things for your cellulite and make you look better.
Encyclopedic insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've got a simple group of products that will diminish the appearance of your cellulite. These are temporary fixes, but they do work. They're not expensive. In fact, I'm not giving you any expensive serums or procedures. Alice is here to help demonstrate. Welcome to the show.
It's nice to be here.
When did you first notice your cellulite?
I would say my mid-30s. After I had my children, there was a dimple.
Just
and
one.
Then another dimple. And then there was a bunch of dimples. And then my butt looked like a golf ball. And then slowly it was like a cellulite bridge formed, and it went from the butt right into the thighs. And it's very frustrating because I work out and I eat right, and I feel like it's the one thing I can count on for the rest of my life, cellulite.
Well, I gather you're probably going out buying stuff that might be helpful.
Yeah, I spent a couple of $100, I would say, depending on how bad it was at what particular time. The best way to find your cellulite really is to go into a dressing room where they have those fabulous lights and you're trying on clothes. That's where you can really, really see it. And depending on how upset I was after I saw it, I would go to the store or whatever. And I've tried creams and oils and, you know.
Have you stuck with any of them?
You know what? I try to give it a month. And after a month, if I don't see anything, I'm done.
So the things I'm going to show you today require at least that month, because that's how long it takes for your body to restore the architecture that's required.
Okay.
So let's go back to this
All right.
table here. We're going to start off talking about the first deal that I think makes a lot of sense to try.
Okay.
Again, it's going to be part of it. It's inexpensive and it's worth giving a shot to. It's something called ginseng. Now, you've all heard of ginseng, but this is a special kind of ginseng. There are creams now that are made with Indian ginseng, also called ashwagandha. Big word. It actually means horse smell.
Oh,
Here.
nice.
Yeah, smell that. Does it smell like horse to you?
Oh, my God. Well, that's a very interesting smell.
Now, have you ever seen a horse with cellulite?
No. Never.
There you have it.
There you go.
You have it. All right.
What's up with that?
That's right. So, ashwagandha, Indian ginseng, is being used a lot now for cellulite therapies for a very important reason. It has a phytochemical that helps protect the collagen. So you're going to put this on your leg, and it's in a cream form like this. You'll massage it in 1 to 2 times a day, and you're going to give it a month before you say it doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And remember, if you stop using it, the benefits will stop as well.
Can I get a case of this?
You buy a case of that. These things are very inexpensive.
Okay.
We're talking, and they're available all over the place now.
Okay.
All right, the next deal that I'm going to share with you are retinol creams. Now, retinol creams you may have used on your face.
Right.
Have you?
No.
No, of course not. No.
Never.
Why
I
you
would never
bother?
use anything.
No, that's why. I would.
No.
So, retinol creams do work on the skin on your face.
Right.
They also work very effectively on the skin on your legs as well. And we've been talking a little bit about cellulite and the skin over it and how they're interacted with each other. So, you want to have retinol in your skin in order to build the skin up, make it thicker, but also to make those cables I spoke to you about earlier, the collagen cables, make them flexible, let them regrow themselves, and avoid the free radicals that, with aging, will damage those cables. So let me show this to you in a little demonstration.
Okay.
I built this for you. I hope you appreciate this.
You built this all by
Yes,
yourself?
all by myself.
Okay.
With a little help of my friends. That retinol cream will benefit you in 2 ways. This is what cellulite looks like. These are the fat cells. Right? See them protruding through the little cables here?
Yes.
So this is the collagen that holds the skin to the fat and to the muscle. When you have too much fat or the cables have gotten too taut, they'll actually pull the little bit of fat you may have because, as you say, you work out, you do all the right things.
Right.
Now, if you take retinols, you'll strengthen these cables. So you have cables now that will help push back some of these fatty areas. And by doing that, they'll be less visible from the surface. You see how they pull through like that?
Yes.
They don't protrude as much. And then, here's the second benefit. The skin will get thicker. As the skin gets thicker, you actually are able to pull it over like this. And when you pull it over, you now have a thicker structure pulling over the little bit of fat that's protruding through the collagen, and your cellulite is much less visible than otherwise would have been.
Okay.
You sold yet?
I don't know.
No, tough customer.
Let's see.
But try, in case you change your mind after the
All
show, 0.4% retinol, that's the solution concentration that you're looking for. You apply it 1 to 3 times a day. You're going to be thinking about this.
All right.
You're going to be thinking about it. All right. And finally, the last deal to help reduce the amount of cellulite and its appearance on your body. Because remember, the cellulite itself is not going anywhere. What you want to be able to do is cosmetically alter what it looks like. That way you won't be bothered by it when you walk into those dressing rooms you spoke to. So this is a very simple concept. It's a do-it-yourself massage combo. This cellulite massage device, it's got to have these soft, flexible rubber tips on there.
Okay.
What do you think? Reasonable?
Yeah.
So what you do with this is you create a little bit of friction and you rub on the skin. And when you do that, you actually rub on the fat that's beneath the skin and the collagen and the muscle beneath that. That whole area has fluid in it. When you milk the fluid out of it, you end up with fat cells that either won't appear as thick or they move the fluid to a place where they become more of a cushion. So when you go home, because we're not going to do it on set right now, I want you to turbocharge this with oregano oil.
Ah.
Because oregano oil will act as a lubricant, like that. Go ahead and put that in your arm, see if that works a little bit. Smell like a pizza?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, like a pizza. That's the right oregano.
Smells great.
And it'll help the massager glide across the skin. When you put it on your thighs, it has an additional benefit because oregano oil is anti-inflammatory.
It feels really clean, like really
So at least you'll have clean cellulite.
clean, smooth. Ah.
Is this your favorite of the three?
Yeah, I like this,
All
yeah.
right, fine. Here, take both of them. You have 2 thighs.
Whoa! Dr. Roz, you're the man!
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.